All right, today we are cracking the code on one of the toughest parts of the TOEIC, the incomplete sentences section. If you're tired of guessing and just want to see your score go up, well, you're in exactly the right place. Let's jump right in.
So, does this section just drive you crazy? You're staring at the clock, you feel the pressure, and you end up guessing more than you'd like to admit. Look, you are not alone. It's designed to be tricky and to eat up your time. But what if I told you the problem isn't your vocabulary? It's your strategy. So, what's the biggest mistake pretty much everyone makes? It's this: trying to translate the entire sentence, word for word. It is so slow, it's super inefficient, and honestly, it often leads you right into a trap. It's time for a completely different way of thinking. And that new approach is something we're going to call the bicycle skill theory. I mean, think about it, right? When you ride a bike, you're not consciously thinking, okay, now I need to balance, now I need to pedal. It just becomes automatic. And that's our goal with grammar. We want to make it an intuitive, fast reflex, not this slow, painful translation process. So here's our game plan. We're going to start with the one golden rule you need to know. Then we'll get into a fast 3-step process, dive into word partnerships and sentence structure, and we'll finish up with a brand new action plan you can start using like today.
First things first, let's talk about the most important mental shift you have to make. See, to beat the test, you have to start thinking like the people who actually write the test. And this gets right to the heart of it. The real clues? They aren't buried deep inside the sentence. They are staring you right in the face in the answer choices. A, B, C, and D are designed to test a very specific grammar rule or vocabulary point. So seriously, stop translating the sentence. The options themselves are going to tell you what the question is all about.
Okay, so how do we actually put that golden rule into practice? Well, it all comes down to a really simple but incredibly powerful 3-step process. This is all about speed and accuracy. Here's how it works. Step 1, and this is crucial. Always look at the answer choices first. Are they totally different words, or are they the same word with different endings? Step 2, use that clue to figure out what kind of question this is. Is it about vocabulary, verb tense, word form? And then, step 3, now that you know what they're testing, you can apply the specific grammar rule or pattern to find the answer. It's like a surgical strike, not a wild guess.
Now let's talk vocabulary, because the TOEIC doesn't just test if you know a word's definition. No, it tests if you know how that word is actually used, you know, who its friends are. It really is all about the connections.
And this brings us to this idea of collocations, or just word partnerships. In English, some words just love to hang out together. Adjectives pair up with nouns, like extensive analysis. Adverbs modify verbs, like effectively communicate. Once you start mastering these common pairs, you can often spot the correct answer just by seeing which word naturally fits with its buddy next to the blank.
Okay, we've got to talk about traps. The test makers absolutely love to use what one guide calls, and I love this, words that deceive your feelings, or, just trick words. These are words that look like one thing but act like another, and they're designed to catch you totally off guard.
Okay, here's a classic trap. We're all taught that words ending in "lay" are adverbs, right? But look at these: friendly, costly, timely, likely. They all end in "lay," but guess what? They're all adjectives. Knowing these little exceptions is a huge advantage.
And the traps just keep coming with these tricky word pairs. Words that look almost the same but have totally different meanings. For example, economic is about the economy, but economical means you're saving money. Confidential means secret. Confident means you're sure of yourself. The test just loves to put these decoys right next to each other in the answers.
All right, let's shift gears a bit. We're going to move from individual words to the structure of the sentence itself. And in here, we can use some incredibly powerful shortcuts to solve grammar questions in just a few seconds.
First up is this simple little mental model called the box theory. Here's the whole idea. Every single complete sentence has to have a box 1 verb. That's a real main verb that shows tense. All the other verb forms, like the ones ending in ing or the to forms, they all belong in box 2. So in box 1, you've got your real verbs. These are the engine of the sentence, like is working or has worked. Over in box 2, you have the verb forms that can't be the main engine by themselves, like to work or working.
So if you scan a sentence and you realize, hey, this thing is missing a box 1 verb, you know exactly what you're looking for in the options. Simple as that. Okay, now here is a massive shortcut for you. This is a pro tip. When you see a blank in a sentence, look at the word that comes immediately after it. If it's a preposition, like by or in, or if there's just nothing there at all, there is a very, very high chance the answer is a passive verb, something like was delivered. This one trick alone can save you so much time. And finally, one of the most tested grammar rules on the entire TOEIC. You absolutely have to know the difference between a connector and a preposition. Connectors, like although or because, they need a full sentence after them, a subject and a verb. But prepositions like despite or because of need to be followed by just a noun or a noun phrase. They test this simple structural rule over and over and over again.
Wow, okay, we've covered a ton of ground, from big picture theory to some really specific shortcuts. So now let's pull it all together into a clear action plan that you can start using right away.
So here it is, your new 5-point strategy. Number 1, stop translating. Start analyzing the patterns. Number 2, always look at the options first to figure out the question type. 3, master those common word partnerships, those collocations. 4, use the box theory to knock out verb questions super fast. And number 5, know that critical difference between connectors and prepositions.
As we wrap up here, let's circle all the way back to where we started, the bicycle theory. Look, these aren't magic tricks, they're skills. And with consistent practice, these rules stop being things you have to consciously think about. They become the automatic reflexes that are going to carry you to a much, much higher score.
You see, when you shift your focus from just translating to recognizing patterns, you're not just learning tricks, you're learning how the test is actually built. You're learning how to ride the bike. So the only question left is, are you ready to take off the training wheels?